Hey there, McAllister with Toasty DIY, and today I want to do a video where I'm going to talk a little about a concept and then tell you some games that match it. And the concept overall is that it is not very fun to be a hero, in my opinion. I think it is way more fun to become a hero. In any game, I like starting out as Poo Poo Dog Water Man and then becoming this, God-slapping king. Whatever it is, almost every game that's a JRPG, for instance, you start out with finding a boy's 5 snails and you end by killing God. It is a tale as old as time. That's always going to be the concept almost every time. And so I enjoy the early part, and I like that the game ends once I have killed the giant beast. I don't really want to play after that. It's really, at that point, if you give me any sort of problem, there's no reason my character shouldn't squash it like a bug. I think I can describe the first time this really happened to me, and it was in Skyrim. You had just gone out and killed your first dragon, and dragons had not appeared for years. Dragons are like end-all be-all monsters in a lot of mythology and fantasy, right? And I kill a dragon and then go back into town and accidentally hit A on a wheel of cheese, and the guards jump me and they kill me. 2, 3 hits. And I'm like, wait, didn't I just take out a dragon? Like, if you want me to kill a dragon early in the game, I understand that. That makes sense. Why not have me arrive at the watchtower? And they want this set piece, right? Like, so this is the what happens, right? I think there's this disconnect between what we want to do versus the story we're trying to tell, and this is where the dissonance comes. What they want you to do is at an early level, they're trying to get you to absorb a dragon soul that you can then be summoned to High Rothgard and understand why you're being summoned there because you're the Dragonborn. What they did was they sent you out because a dragon has been found and seen near a watchtower, and you show up and you kill the dragon. What would make that make sense is if that dragon could one-shot everyone there, and the only reason you can kill it is because they had a ballista on top of the guard post and they've already hit it and it is weak, it is bleeding, and it is dying, and that's why you can defeat it. So the next dragon you run into can actually run your pockets. Totally fine. Then it would make sense that when you arrive at the outpost, that watchtower, why the guards are able to help you kill this dragon because it's wounded already. If you want to introduce a high level monster early in a game, you either have to already like have the character be overpowered and then power them down so that character has to regain the power to fight those monsters, or you have to wound the monster. But don't give me an end game monster. Let me defeat it easily and then try to convince me, oh, that's a baby one or that's a harder one. Like, show me that before I defeat it so that we get that. Because in Skyrim, they didn't do this. They just wanted this set piece of you in a field fighting on a watchtower of dragon. And it is a cool set piece, but it leads to me then going back into town being called the Dragonborn and people being able to wreck me with just the axes they find on the floor. Didn't get that as a kid. I was very confused. So I remember the moment that happened, I went to the settings and I turned the settings all the way down. I was like, I'm not getting killed by town guards when you're telling me I am the man who slays dragons. I just won't enjoy that. It'll ruin my experience of the game. Now, as an adult, I go back in terms of difficulty as a way to help make joy and fun out of the game because I pretty much just start a game and never touch the main story. So in my head, I never accept the Dragonborn mantle. I never take the shouts. I just try to live out some fantasy that I want to do. That's how I enjoy it now. But there are lots of games that start you as a pretty strong person and then have to wire you back. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 does this, and a lot of Batman games do it, where you have played the last one, you had all the gadgets, and now you have to lose them all because they couldn't possibly ever start you with all the gadgets. It'd be too much. And it's like a weird thing where, as a gameplay mechanic, if you're a new person coming in from the old game, yeah, it's going to be confusing. Then they have to make every single puzzle and every single level adaptable to every gadget you have. But if you think about it, it's Batman, and the odds that he would not bring the right tools or right gadget or lose them consistently at the beginning of every one is just coincidental. Those are the sorts of things that just irk me, but I get why they have to happen. It's just that dissonance, once again, starts to bother me. But then there are some games that have come out recently, or maybe not. One of them, I don't know if it came out recently. One of them did. It's a remake. And there are other games that treat you like Stinky Poo Poo Dog Man when you start the game, and you can maybe end as a equal to or greater than the highest level NPC. Some of them, you never really get better than them, but that classic JRPG when it starts you as that nobody in town gathering 5 wheat, and then you end by killing God. Almost every JRPG seems to go this route. I didn't expect like the Persona series to go that same kind of route, right? You start as Stinky Poo Poo Man, and then you grow into God Killer. Like every game does. The Clear Obscure kind of off the gate tells you you're a God Killer. So at least in that one, I like the reverse that you're just trying to get there. You already know it's going to happen. It's a JRPG style game. You know you're going to be killing God. But in these games, you start off just really weak, and that getting there is the fun part. And once you've killed the god, if there's a post game, that always hurts my brain because I've just killed a deific being, and now I'm fighting a bull in the yard, and it has high stats because we wanted to do this fight and it'd be fun, but it doesn't mesh well with the actual reality of the game. Post game bosses tend to do this to me. It's because I've already proved that I'm the bee's knees out here, and then it's like, what now? Because being the hero, being Superman has to blow, right? Sacrifice yourself even though you're the strongest thing because one person's in danger. We all know he'd do that. But when he doesn't, when are the times that he chose not to, and why, and how do they damage him? Those are like the becoming a hero portion. I just don't know if I find it as interesting once they're already there. The initial Avengers movies, like all the origin story movies, always excited me growing up. And then they started becoming the follow-up movies, right? And I just kept getting bothered by the fact that they had conquered a lot of these demons and now they're having to reconquer them or getting reframed to have new challenges when it's like, well, they feel like they've already done this. And it's like, I do like to see them improve. And there is a joy to those movies, of course, for people out there, but that's just never been my cup of tea. I want to see them become the hero. And after they become one, that's the end of the story for me. I don't want to see them be challenged much more. I'm happy that they did the thing. And if they get an upgrade, that's cool. But I think it's a part of why I like One Piece. He had one goal. He said it in the beginning and he still hasn't done it yet. That's cool. I like watching him get to his goal. If he accomplishes it, I don't know if I'd want to watch another episode. If they make a One Piece sequel, I'll probably watch it, but I'll be a part of me sad because I thought it should be over. You know, he said it, he did it, he's done. There can only be maybe 1 or 2 episodes after he has it. I don't want to see any of the post-life stuff. Of course, when it's over, I'm sure I'll feel the opposite, but the reality of it is I want to see him become King of the Pirates, right? Well, I said I'd give you some games that are in this vein, and let me talk about a few of them. Recently, I've been playing Drova. If you've not seen Drova, if you've played Gothic Remake, which is the other game I'd like to talk about, it is that. It is. I'm shocked at how similar these games are. It's like someone made 2D Gothic. So if you like Gothic, play Drova. If you've not played Gothic, you can play Drova. Still, I think it's an easier jump in than Gothic Remake because Gothic Remake is an old game that has been kind of brought to our standards, while Drova was made with the standards that we know now, but a lot like Gothic Remake. So hop on in this game, and what you're going to find out is that the first time you see like a wolf in the woods, and you're going to be like, easy, that thing's going to X you immediately. You're going to fight 3 flies, and they're going to kill you. And it took about 6 hours, and now I'm fighting things like normal. But it's nice because I had that 1 to 2 hours of gameplay where I was pee pee poo poo man, where I was nothing. And I have built myself up. It's not as much like Dark Souls-y, where everything 3 hits you, because the odd thing about Dark Souls is that you get better, and then the stats help you just speed up those fights and make them more consistent. But really, if you can't dodge, you don't learn to dodge and to react, you won't be able to get farther even if your stats go up. That the stats just give you a better curve, more time in the boss arena for more health, less time in the arena because you kill it faster, those sorts of things. But in reality, until you learn how to play the game, your stats won't really help you. In Drova, I would say your stats carry you, not your skill. It really, there are some things that you just really can't fight, and there's like no joy fighting it until your stats are higher. It's accomplishable, but it doesn't feel gratifying. There's not a big pop like there is if you run bleed damage in Elden Ring, or if you stagger a monster, those sorts of things that you can get where you get these big pops of damage. Even if you're low level, you can pull off weird shenanigans. It's like doing a level 1 challenge against things. It's just not very fun, and they're clearly gating areas by damage of enemies. Unlike Elden Ring, which doesn't feel like it really gates based on damage, almost everything, no matter what level you are, can die pretty quickly except for bosses. Like, you can go kill most any enemy in a few hits. I don't really remember any that were like, oh my gosh, this thing's so strong, I can't kill it with my weapon, I have to come back here. That was for bosses. It was not for the enemies around the map. In Drova, I find enemies around the map are the blocker. But having spent 2-3 hours in a spot where I'm dog water pee pee poo poo man fighting animals, it was fun the first time that I fight a person. I'm like, oh my god, I'm doing damage. And then I was like, maybe I can fight another one. I found another person, I fought him, like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And I think, here it is. This is my moment. I've switched over, now I'm like a hero. And then I fight 2 people at one time, and they just kill me. And I'm like, okay, it's not yet. And you get forward and forward, and you keep moving that bar forward until the things you're fighting equal your skill level and the narrative level that you're at. Like, when we go to fight in Drova, at some point you fight a bigger boss. It's the first big boss. It's like chapter 3. It's big dude, you're battling it, but you have 4 people with you that are stronger than you. So it makes sense, even if I'm the one doing the damage because it's a game and they want me to do it, it makes sense that really the people carrying this fight are the NPCs, not me, but I get the enjoyment of getting to play the game and be the damage dealer, though narratively it's definitely these guys killing it. I'm just there and I'm surely helping, but nobody's like, wow, you're the guy who did it. Like, I couldn't have done that fight alone. There's too many things going on. If they did try to make me do it alone, it wouldn't have been a fun fight. But it kept the narrative and my gameplay skill at a similar level, and I enjoyed that. Gothic has a similar system. If you want to start out as a dog water man, you will die to the first animal you fight. It will hit you in 2 hits and kill you if you're not paying attention, even though it's just a baby one. And you level up slowly but surely and gain your health back, eating little plants to survive. And that foundational knowledge will build up and make you better and better and better. When I finally had like spells and magic, it was like, oh my God, I can kill anything. But then I didn't have mana, and I was like, there's the balance. Like, this makes me strong, and I'm sure this is a way to move forward in the game, and I could be very powerful. But right now I have none, so when I have a spell, like casting Fireball felt meaningful because I don't have many, but I need 1 wolf pelt. So maybe it's worth trading my spell I can cast for the day against this 1 wolf because I need its pelt. And there's no way I'm beating it with a sword because it's got 2 friends with it. So I'm going to kill the one, I'm going to run away because it's about surviving. It's about doing what you have to do. Oftentimes, I, as a kid, loved Legolas, right? He was so cool. He could do everything perfectly. The man could not fail and could do everything with ease. As a kid, it's like saying force field when you're playing with friends, make believe. Force field, you can't hit me. Force field, oh, I hit you, I win. Mine's 1 hit. As a kid, that seems like the optimal way because you've been told to just get it right, right? And then as you get older, people like Gimli, Aragorn, these people start to be more inviting and interesting because they struggle like you do to accomplish great things. So, though they struggle, they can still do it, and so can you. And I start to like them more. So, when you're looking at these characters, I just think to myself that I don't want to be Legolas yet. If I did, it'd be over. There'd be no fun. The moment that I accomplish diamond armor, netherite pickaxe, all that, I'm kind of done with Minecraft. For me, it's the getting there. So I've been playing Vintage Story because it forces you to slow down by order of like a ceramic bowl I made last night, and a crock pot and a cooking pot. Took me 2 hours to get all that done. And by that point in Minecraft, I probably have full iron armor. We barely have a house, a hut, and a food source. So I just like this idea that I can't rush the game because I have to encounter these obstacles. The problem is making those obstacles entertaining. It's easy to just make everything overpowered and kill you instantly, but it's harder to make things challenging but rewarding. Another game that does this is Kenshi. If you've not looked at Kenshi, everything beats your ass until you can maybe stand against it. I think that Kenshi's funnier because I don't think you'll ever really get, without knowing game mechanics very sharply, you'll ever get a character who can travel that world alone and beat every fight. They can survive and evade and maneuver, but they'll never win alone. You do need a squad of people unless you're going to stat max and you know how to get the most out of every character. You will need multiple people and still have the risk of people dying, losing limbs, or otherwise getting injured. Without save scumming, Kenshi is a damn difficult game. And as far as I can think right now, that's really it. I played Scroll of Taiwu, like Chinese cultivation games, things that are based off that. I tend to have this idea that you start as Pee Poo 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 Man, mostly because everyone else is overpowered, not because you're weak. You're like a normal human, and they are God level 5, and that just makes a weird thing. So I don't know if I'd recommend those ones much. They're very difficult to learn, and I really only liked it because it made me learn so much just to get to the point of playing well. But there are games like Mortal Online 2, for instance, where the idea of being a great knight who travels the land and helps people sounded really cool. But I spent too long as Pee Poo 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 Man, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I joined guilds to try to get a little bit better. I still sucked. So give some of these games a shot. Tell me what you all think. I think Way of Kings is a book I've been reading recently, and there's a line there that it's journey before destination. And I like that line because it makes me think this. I rather spend my time enjoying it. I've been playing Drova, and there's been multiple times where I want to look up the answer to a quest to see if it's worth doing, but I've instead just decided to do the quest, leave it alone, because I can only spend so much time not knowing the game. Once I've done things, I'll know them. I'll never unlearn that. And this is the only time I get to enjoy not knowing. And if I look it up, I ruin that, and I become closer to the game being over. So maybe you'll have some thoughts on this. Maybe you have some games to recommend. Let me know down below. Thanks.